Hello YouTube. Today we got another knife review, and today we have the Spyderco Southard. It's a Brad Southard and Spyderco collaboration. Very unique knife, very cool. I actually really like this knife more than I originally thought I was going to, so I ended up getting the black version also. It is a flipper knife. Closed, it is 4.5 inches. Open, its overall length is just under 8 inches. The blade length is 3.46 inches. So as you can tell, the blade to handle ratio is very good. Very good. I think that's part of the reason it gives it a very nice look. Blade thickness is 4 millimeters, so pretty thick blade stock on this. As you can see, it's very rounded. It's smooth. It's, you know, I don't want to say organic, but that's kind of the feel that comes to mind when you touch the blade. A lot of the edges are very rounded on this knife, very smooth. Even like the jimping here, it's smooth, maybe a little too smooth. You don't get a real good bite, but since that blade stock is so thick, you can really get a lot of control. And then as you can see on the blade, you kind of have this nice kind of dip right here if you wanted to kind of put your thumb up there to get some more purchase. Let's see, there's also the spider hole for deployment, which to be honest, it's a bit hard. I mean, it's possible, but you're pretty much gonna, let's see if I can get it to flick out. Yeah, I have a hard time getting it to shoot out. You're pretty much gonna stick with that flipper. The flipper action on this is pretty good. It's not great. Well, I would say this one's actually great, and this one's pretty good. The coated version, I can tell it doesn't shoot out quite as fast, quite as hard as the satin version. This satin version, man, it has a really beautiful stonewash finish on the blade. It's just really, really beautiful. It's like the fit and finish is excellent on this knife. It's just excellent. Let's see, the blade is actually, it's a CTS 204P, and it's, I don't know a lot about it, but from what I've read, it's comparable to like M390 or, you know, some of those other super steels, maybe S90V or something. So it's supposed to be a very, very good steel. Great edge retention and corrosion resistance. From what I've seen so far, it's definitely held its edge very well. The handle is G10. One thing to note, and I haven't seen anyone else point this out on any of the other videos, the G10 pattern on both these knives, it's slightly different. As you can see, the G10 on the earth brown version, it's kind of got this larger texturing, where the black has the very small, real fine texturing. I actually kind of prefer the feel of this G10. I feel like it gets more bite into you, whereas this, since the texturing is so smooth, or it's so small that it almost kind of doesn't really get as much of a bite. I mean, you still get good grip, but just comparing the two, I'd say you definitely get more traction on the earth brown. Another thing to note about the all black version is it's all black. You know, all the hardware, the screws, the G10 over travel stop. It's really nice. I mean, the blacked out version definitely has a real cool look to it. As you can see, it's a frame lock. Well, I guess it's a Reeves integral lock, but pretty much the same thing as a frame lock. Locks up about, I'd say just a tiny bit over 50% on this one, and about the same. Lockup's about the same on both these. It is titanium handles. I kind of wish maybe there was a stainless steel insert for there, but as you can see, the angle on the blade, it gets pretty steep, so I don't think the lockup is going to progress too much more on these knives. Just a very, very cool design. The blade is kind of like this modified sheep's foot, and then it's got a nice hollow grind, so it's a very good slicer. The ergonomics on this knife are great. I really like the ergonomics on it. You can hold it reverse or forward. Really good ergonomics. Some complaints I've heard are, you know, some people don't really like the way this milling looks right here. But you know, if you look at it, it makes it really easy to get this frame lock and put the blade back, because the angle of this larger milling, it really lets your thumb get in there real nice. So to me, it's almost form, or, you know, function over form, or function over aesthetics. But to me, it really doesn't look bad. It kind of gives it like a unique look. And then the second bevel is so if you want to try and use that spider hole, you can. But I pretty much just always use the flipper action on it. Let's see. Some of the other complaints are the pocket clip. It is a little sharp. Which, I mean, it helps it get in your pocket good, or in your pants good, but it is a little sharp. They maybe could have rounded it a little bit more, but I don't really have any issues with it. A lot of people say that they don't really, I guess aesthetically, they think the pocket clip should have been this darker stonewash look, but I mean, to me, it kind of matches the look of the blade, so I think aesthetically it looks fine. It's a little funky shape, but other than that, it's real nice. It's got real nice kind of polished standoffs in the back, and then a lanyard tube, a nice large lanyard tube if you like, you know, putting a lanyard on there. The blade centering on both these knives is pretty much perfect, and that's out of the box. It's a really cool knife. They both came really sharp from Spyderco. Just real nice. If you do a slice cut, it really does real well. The push cut, not as much, but the slice cut, don't have a lot of room here. The camera's kind of low, but does really good. Oop. But yeah, they both came really sharp from the factory. Just a really cool looking knife. I'm not sure if I said the weight. It's 4.1 ounces, so it's definitely a good weight. As far as category of this knife, I would have to say it kind of falls into a high-end everyday carry knife. I mean, it could be, you know, a hard use knife also. It is pretty robust. You can see that's a pretty thick slab of titanium there. But, you know, this knife is going to cost you around $200. And that's the street price. The MSRP, I think, is like $400 or something like that. Pretty cool knife. This is supposed to be Spyderco's first flipper knife. So I don't know if there might be some collector, incentive there. I hear this knife compared a lot to the Zero Tolerance 0561. It does have some similarities. They both have titanium frame, frame lock, G10. But to be honest, I think their roles between these two knives are kind of different. This is like a large tactical folder. It could be a real hard, heavy use knife. Where this is more about having a cool, aesthetically looking, kind of something different. You pull this out, it definitely has a unique look to it. I really, really like the fit and finish and the looks of this Southard. Whereas the Zero Tolerance, it's going to be a great hard use knife, but to compare them is kind of, I don't know. To me, they kind of have different roles. I would compare it more to maybe the Benchmade 940-1. To get a little bit of size comparison. Although, the 940-1 is under 3 ounces, so it's a very light, high-end EDC knife. Got the axis lock. Definitely a very nice knife. I think this one is a little bit more. I think maybe this runs around $230, $220, and this you can get it right around $200. I think the Zero Tolerance also costs a little bit more than $200. It's also a lot heavier. Let's see, it weighs in 6.5 ounces opposed to 4.1 ounces. So definitely heavier knife. Another comparison could be the Zero Tolerance 0770 carbon fiber. This is the M390 version. Very cool knife, kind of the same blade design. A little bit smaller knife. The weight on this one is 3.1 ounces. So again, lighter than the Spyderco, but this is also a flipper, carbon fiber. Definitely a high-end, everyday carry knife. Excuse me. But this kind of serves that same role as the Spyderco Southard. Then another alternative would be the Benchmade Loco, 808 Loco. Kind of a little bit larger end. I think this one's pretty heavy also. Yep, 6.5 ounces. But it kind of serves the same role, maybe a high-end EDC, although this is a little bit larger. I would say maybe these two and the 940-1 are more comparable. That's kind of up to the buyer. I really like the Spyderco Southard. It's a great knife. I'm happy with my purchase with both of them, the black version also. So another thing to mention is the jimping. There is no jimping on the flipper stud here. I think a little bit of jimping might work. To me, this 0770, the flipper action on this is perfect. Although it is assisted, so you would expect that. But it's just got this little stud here, but it's got jimping on it. And you can really get a good bite on it. And it really flies out there. I really like this knife. To me, the flipper action is best kind of when you push it down or straight in like a button, and then it really kind of flies out there. But there's been a couple times where like you try and come down with it, and maybe your finger kind of slips a little and you get like a half deployment, but other than that, it's really good. Really good knife. I'm not sure if I mentioned the G10 over travel stop right here. It gives it a cool aesthetic look. Kind of, you know, offsets the coloring and stuff. That's the Spyderco Southard, and have a good one.